Hello, welcome to Tully River Quail. A friend of mine asked me that they're making a two-level quail house, and kind of what I started out with. And I guess I just wanted to show what I made in the very beginning and how it ended up, and some ideas just in case you're interested in building a little quail cage. Tell you some of the stuff I would do differently, and what I like, what I don't like. So this is, I call the Quail Haus, H-A-U-S, Quail Haus, German. I originally made it with two levels, and you can see how I have the poop trays in here. And I have two different things. I have, in the summertime, I use this cup. In the wintertime, they'll use the nipples. I can just switch this over. This cup system I have on the top and on the bottom, that is just running off of this little vat, whereas this other plumbing runs off of my pump and cooler, my automatic watering thing. What you can see is I have some lights in here. So I have these landscape lights. Those I have mounted. They're supposed to be mounted vertically. I mounted that horizontally. It doesn't give off any heat, but it lights it up. So if you wanted to keep your coop lit for summertime or in the wintertime when you need to extend the egg laying time, you can add a couple hours. So what I have right now here, we're in December, January. Hey, today's New Year's, and I have it on 4 hours. So it's about 4:30 now. You can see that just about getting dark. So about 5 o'clock this will pop on. So 6, 7, 8, 8:30, 9 is when the lights go out, and that gives me from 7 to 9, so more than 12, 14 hours, 15 hours of sunlight, and they'll lay in this. I like this cool little latch system that is made, though I have had problems one time with a raccoon getting in here and opening the cage. So what I would do is I would make this so that this is circular and this rotates down to a lock. So you'd have to kind of lift it up and slide it. But I kind of do like this design here. Basically what I did is just took a board and cut 2 holes and cleaned it up and shaped it a little bit with a little oscillating saw. These are wood slats that I got from inside a house that I use for the back. And this is basically made on 2x4s. There is a 2x8 down the back, or 10 here in the front. And then these doors are just a 1/2-inch hardware cloth on the front. The other thing I would do is, since this was my first quail cage that I made, I would make this with the 1-inch by 1/2-inch PVC coated flooring that we use in our metal breeder cages. With jumbo Coturnix, the poop gets stuck in here more than it should. So that's basically the cage. There's 4 here. Now, one of the things that you want to consider when you're building or designing something like this is that your poop trays is basically the limiting factor. So you need to have the ability to get your poop trays sliding in and out. But this gives me a 2-inch or a 4-inch, 3.5-inch section that the poop tray doesn't cover. So what I have is a little piece of metal flashing, and I have these labeled, well, all of them but this one. With this is the top right basically, and I have a little dent, and I just folded that so I can go in and pull this out, and this just inserts in there, and this allows me to clean the sides while using this standard poop tray size. Now ideally your poop tray is going to cover the whole area, but since this is an outdoor cage, it's okay if it gets a little messy. I mean, if this was an indoor garage cage, I'd probably make it a little bit more specific or have a secondary tray in there or something. So when I originally made this, made the 2 levels, kept it off the ground so I could do it, and I can put my plans online. You can probably find it at the usquailcoop.com website, where we have some quail cage designs out there. But this was basically open, so there was no cage up here, and I had some extra shingles, so I just put this on there. And the way I had it is that I could store food and different things up there, water, so it was a covered little storage area that I could use. I had some trays and stuff in there, or some egg trays or egg cartons, but when I started doing a lot of breeding, as where our business grew, I needed an extra brooder. So I used to have just 2 little brooder boxes, but then I had this transitional brooder. Now this has been used as of late, so it's not as clean as I would like it. But you can see I have these ceramic light fixtures in here, and then I have it on this kind of strapping material, and I have it so that it's attached up there, so I can adjust the heat by raising or lowering that depending on the age of the bird. So if they were to come in here in 1 week, I would keep it down here. If they were a little older, I would lower the temperature and move it up here, just to give them an area. Half of it's heated, half of it's not. You want to allow them to be able to start to regulate their own thing. So I use this as a transitional brooder, weeks 2 to 4 basically, until they come down to this cage. And another thing that I have, as you can see, I have here is a sensor, and I have another one on this side where that black tape is. You can see the wire, and those go to 2 controllers that I have under this flashing. So when I turn this on, I can set the temperature. Here I have it set for 85 because that was a 4-week-old bird, hatch that I had in there. But that'll keep the ceramic heating elements that I put inside this ceramic fixture set for this zone right here to be 85. So it'll be obviously not as hot over here, but right underneath these zones. And I can set this side and that side differently should I want to. I usually have them both on the same side. I start at 90 and then take it down to 85, and you know, at night times I'll have it on at 80 for that last final week. But the jumbo Coturnix grow so quickly. I have 1/4-inch hardware cloth on here. That's good for chicks, but as they get older, that's too fine of a grid. So it's 1/4-inch hardware cloth. So this is a good summer brooder. If I have a brooder tower now inside, so I use that anyway. But you know, it'd be cool if I could do the 1/2-inch by 1/2-inch on here and then have a layered overlay that maybe was 3/8 inch plastic that I could put in there for when they're smaller, and then just slide that out in 3 sections when they can handle the 1/2-inch by 1/2-inch. So, and I didn't have this one plumbed, so I just use, this is a bungee cord container from Harbor Freight. I just put water in that and zip tied it to or bungee corded it to the wall here, and put in a cup here, and then I just fill this up. This would last a week or so. And I put rocks in here at the bottom to keep the water level. I mean, you don't need to have all this water down here, so I just basically, you can put marbles or whatever filler, but just to keep it so that, because this has to be so far off the ground, and then this automatically fills. When you run out of water, it'll stay up there like that. But as long as you have water up here, it's gonna keep this filled. And I usually have the water running on both, so they do have the nipples, but again, with the young chicks, they don't. I have a 2x4 in there just for the smaller birds when they're little. And then what I'll do is I'll go in and put a little bit of tap. I'll tap that so that this stays wet all the time, so they know there's water. It kind of gets them trained. And I also use a little laser pointer for a training, nipple trainer. That I'll put the little red dot on the nipple right here, and they're attracted to the little red dot on a laser pointer. Obviously you don't want to shoot it in their eyes, but it kind of gives them something to peck at, and then once they peck at it and they know that there's water there, then that's cool. Another part of the design is I use Lexan or plexiglass basically for the doors. Since this is a brooder and I'm concerned about heat, I don't have as much ventilation. I do have a little bit of ventilation up on the top there, and these little 1/2-inch aluminum holes I have, but I have these on 2 1/4-inch U-shaped channels, and this one comes in and out this way. Just pick it up and pull it out, and then these two slide all the way out to the side. So this gives me access, plus keeps a lot of the heat in. So that's how I designed this. So I have a brooder that can hold, geez, 100 birds probably, and then I can put 30 birds in the top and the bottom here. You know, I don't like to have that many in there, but 20, 25, 30 I can put in there at a time. So sometimes what I'll do is when I'm taking birds out of the brooder tower, I'll put all the males up here and I'll put all the hens down here, and then I'll take the birds that I want to pair and I'll put them into my breeder section. So I'll take the biggest rooster up here and match it with the colors that I want, and I'll put them into a 1:5 ratio cage over in my brooder cages, or in my breeder cages. So that's that for just a standalone indoor outdoor kind of 2-layer hutch. You know, that was our first, like I said, the Quail House. That's what we started back in 2000, and you know, from there we ended up picking up this brooder tower. I made my, sorry I don't have the lights on, I'm actually repairing my dishwasher incubator here. So my heating element went out, so I have to replace my controller, which I got a new one I have to put in. Want to do it before it gets back down into the 10s and 20s. But here's one of the brooders that I had. Here's just another one where I had a light suspended from a box, and a pull-out poop tray that I had in the bottom. So that's how we run our business here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down there. We like that design. But hey, Cody, I'll just show you a couple other little things we got going on here. This is our hatching egg supply and breeder cages. So these cages we make and sell, and this is all run on auto return water, winter waterproof watering system. And you can see these little cage front, I call them bivouacs. They clip onto the front and rest onto the egg tray, these little boxes down here, and they have the black boxes are the pull out sandbox tray. So it kind of, in the winter time, I have a flap. Let me go in there and show you. In the winter time, look at coat. When it gets really cold, if it's going to go down to like sub 5 or something, then I'll clip one of these boxes on. It's basically just a 3/4 box, and it has hooks on the front, and that hooks onto the cage. This clips in, and then the tray slides in over top of that, so there's like a little extra square right here, and then this becomes the roof. So they have a little clear Lexan roof, and you can still open this up, reach in, pull out the sandbox, put more sand in, and get to the egg tray if you want. So that's just something we make. I got to come back down here and fill up the feeders. So this area is just a little pen that we use. So once a week I'll take a bird. Like tomorrow it's these guys' turn. I'm going to take them out and I'll let them run around, and then I'll put them back in before the night. Then these guys get a day, and then those guys. So I kind of rotate a day in the playground here, and I have a feeder and a drinker under there. Sometimes I'll block this off and I'll keep some birds out here. Like if I have too many males and I'm trying to get them to flight, get them flight ready, I'll put them in here for a little bit. All right, I guess that's all we got, unless you want to see my bobwhite pen. I have about 80 bobwhite in the woods here. This is my hot peppers and tomatoes I'm still growing. This is where we're going to do our podcast for the U.S. Quail Cooperative. I'm down here so I can show people the birds and talk about what the U.S. Quail Cooperative is doing. We have a store going right now that you can go to store.usquail.com, and everything you need for your quail farm, from work apparel to incubators to anything, you can get at the store.usquail.com. It's no membership needed to shop at this store. Though if you are a member of US Quail, we have a discount store as well, and are able to offer bulk sales for stuff like egg cells, foamies, egg cartons, things that you use in your farm business. So here I have 2 quail cages, 2 bobwhite hutches. They're both recall pens. There's one here. There's a recall tube in the front of that overlooking the river. And then this one has a recall pen on tube on the side, plus one on this side too. So I keep 30 birds in each, and then I let them out. Like today it was these guys were out for a couple days, and then last week those guys were out. You can see I have 2 solar panels there and there, and there's a battery inside this cage right by the door there, and that runs the pump and the little water heater, the circulation pump that's inside the cooler there. And so that's on an auto watering system down here, self-sufficient, running on solar. So that's pretty cool. And then this is a 25-foot flight pen. Just got some netting. I had some trees I cut down and just felled some trees around the side to make the perimeter, but it's all natural and seems to work pretty cool. And like I said, I do let the birds out into the woods sometimes, and they just come right back into the recall tube that's on the front of this hutch. So they're flight ready, but we don't sell the bobwhite. We can help people with some bobwhite hatching eggs, but these guys are ours. We like to kind of repopulate the thing. And that's another thing that we're doing with the U.S. Quail Cooperative, is that part of the funds that we get from the cooperative goes towards bobwhite quail habitat regeneration. And we're going to be putting on a petition so that people can write their state commissioner as far as the agricultural laws and rules, and we're going to have a petition so that you can write them, and we're going to demand that these cottage industry laws are relaxed so that us small farm folk don't have to go to the state capitol to get our 30 birds that we want to send over to the butcher to have them be sold, that we're not having to compete and do the same thing that somebody that runs a poultry farm of thousands of birds do. You know, we just can't afford that. But, you know, I mean, we handle our birds better than these poultry farms. So we, you know, our birds are all non-GMO fed. So we don't like to, you know, those guys, I don't know, they live in little chicken houses and not treated as well as our birds are. So, and that's the way the homesteads are. The members of the U.S. Quail Cooperative, you know, they're kind of our pets, but they're pets with benefits. So, anyway, if you get a chance, go to usquail.com. From there, you can click the link to the U.S. Quail Coop, the U.S. Quail Cooperative. That's a member-owned directory and business resource platform for homestead quail growers. So we can create a parallel poultry initiative. We want to be able to have a backup plan just in case we have a catastrophic shutdown of the food supply. We want to make sure that our communities are safe. So if we're all growing quail and every neighborhood has a couple people that are growing quail, then we can survive a month or two of some sort of attack. You're seeing every day that there's a poultry fire or the transportation is getting shut down or whatever. So it's nuts. I mean, anybody can grow quail, and quail are more nutritious, especially the way we feed them with the non-GMO, and they're handled better. So, you know, it's the new chicken, as my Shire Farm says. So anyway, this is New Year's. Happy New Year's to my friends. Help us out at US Quail. Like I said, we have a directory. You can get your directory listing up there, and the directory isn't such that it's going to tell everybody where you live. It's you know, you have the ability to give people directions to your farm if you want after they contact you, but you're just going to be listed in a town or a location that you identify. And you know, if the FDA or somebody out there is looking to shut down all bird flu farmers, they're not going to be able to find you using the U.S. Quail Cooperative website. And we also suggest people use a Wi-Fi phone number to sign up, such as Text Now or Text Edit. There is a they assign a phone number to you that you could use for business. It's free as long as you use it once every 30 days, or you can pay $4 a month and they don't send you any ads. So that's what we do for our own private quail farm, Tully River Quail. And we also have a Proton Mail email address that we forward to, so all of our emails are encrypted. Another cool thing that we're going to be doing here with the U.S. Quail Cooperative is we have the domain name quailmail.us. So you're going to be able to get a free email ID at quailmail.us. So your farm name or whatever you want, and that's for free as a service from US Quail. Now you can get a full service email with up to 50 gigabytes of storage if you want, and it's depending on the membership level you join for the US Quail Cooperative. So I just made a couple cool things for the Quail Co-op website. Just did a covey calculator, so you can type in the price for hatching eggs or chicks, whatever you're looking for, and then type how many eggs you want per day. Like, let's say you want 25 eggs a day or something, that's what you want to harvest. Then you can type that in, and then whatever price at the company that you're working with that provides either the hatching eggs or the chicks or adult birds, you can calculate what it'll cost you, how many birds you end up with. Like, let's say you get hatching eggs, how many you have to buy to get 25 hens, and you can compare the price, and it gives you a little order form when you're done that you can put into an email and say, hey, I want, 50 hatching eggs or 200 hatching eggs or whatever, and you'll know about what the cost is. So I call it the covey calculator. Another thing we'll be doing is the hatch calendar. So you'll be able to keep track of your hatch batch, your hatches, and it'll create a number, and that'll go on your U.S. Quail Cooperative account, so that you can basically keep track of all the birds, you know, what birds you're breeding, what colors came out, how many candled, how many didn't candle, how many didn't hatch, and it'll prompt you for when you're supposed to candle, when you're supposed to lock down, and when you're supposed to be ready to hatch. We also have an app that allows you to use any old cell phone as a camera that you can put inside your incubator, and it'll notify you with a message when it sees any movement. So the first sign of hatching, an egg starts to move, it'll send you a little text. You'll get a pop-up and says check your camera, and you'll be able to view that on your regular phone. Just open up the window and you can watch your hatches from your thing. So that's going to be integrated into the hatch calculator. So we have some other tools that we're going to try to make so that you'll be able to use them. Some are free, some are going to be included just for the members. So many other things, but that's another website or another video for you. All right, well, I got to get to feeding these birds. Just wanted to chat at you and show you my original quail house. Since my friend Lori was looking at building one, she's got the framework done. I wanted to give her some ideas. So there you are. Peace out. Happy New Year. Stay free. Tully River Quail, founding member of the U.S. Quail Cooperative. Join us and grow your own protein.